So we're going to talk a little bit about posture today in this video, because many of us are either not really taught about posture, healthy postures, or we're taught about certain postures that are just, again, not exactly healthy for us long term. So we're going to share some perspective on some different postures, specifically one, which is this posture here of just sitting. Essentially, we're just sitting. And if we find ourselves sitting a lot, then this posture is obviously going to be very important. Sadhguru, this is a quote by Sadhguru: by consciously getting your body into a certain posture, you can also elevate your consciousness. You can change the very way you feel, think, understand, and experience life simply by sitting in a particular way. There's also another quote I couldn't find by him as well. It says, depending on our posture, this kind of sets the stage for our experience, for our perception. If we sit in a certain way, say for instance we're slumped over or in whatever kind of position besides more or less straight up, for in any other kind of position over a course of time, it tends to have various effects that we don't necessarily want. They're not necessarily beneficial long term. They actually can be quite detrimental, not just to the spine, but to the energy flow, and therefore mental health, emotional health, all of it. So one thing we also need to address here is when we say sit up straight. It's a fairly relative kind of way to say it. It's not an exact, because the spine itself is not straight. And I learned more about this while taking a private yoga lesson. And basically she taught how the spine has two natural curves in it. One lower in the spine and one with the neck. So really when we say sit up straight, we really just want to, sometimes we can say elongating the spine. It kind of like feels like we're pulling ourselves up by the head and stretching it upwards. But at the same time, we're not trying to completely straighten the spine. It is not a straight line, the spine. It has these natural curves in it that we want to work with. We don't want to mess with those. So she also greatly advocated working with the pelvis and pulling back the pelvis, whether sitting or doing various poses. So essentially we just pull backwards the pelvis. And this helps work with that natural curve in the spine. I'm going to turn here so we can actually see it a little bit better. So again, we want to pull back from the pelvis area. And also the shoulders are best when they are brought back and let down to relax. And then so as you can see, is these two nice natural curves in the spine. So we see we don't want to completely straighten the spine. We want to allow those natural curves, the natural shape, and simply elongate that shape to a degree by, again, stretching upwards just gently. Not even something we need to seriously focus on, but just a kind of a conscious, light stretch allowing the spine to elongate rather than to be scrunched up, and which it often happens more so when we're hunched over or doing any other kind of unconscious posture. So whether we're meditating or not, the sitting posture is very healthy. I tend to not like to sit in any kind of chair nowadays because most of them just are not suitable for a healthy spine and posture. They are often bending the spine in various ways, even with a straight back chair, again, where we don't have a straight spine. So only part of the spine is able to even touch the chair, the back of the chair. So essentially, they're just not ideal for the ideal posture. There's not a match there. So I prefer most of the times to sit cross-legged as directly on the floor as possible. You can see I'm sitting on a cushion just to keep a little protection from the base of the spine and the bones down there. But otherwise, I like to be as directly on the floor as possible, not in some cushiony chair or couch or anything else. So practicing this posture, whether again we're meditating or not, whether we're doing something or nothing, whatever, practicing this posture is very important for, again, getting our spine back to normal if we're not used to it, as well as reaching our potential as far as our consciousness and our experience. Our mental health, emotional health, physical and energetic is all connected to the posture. So what we are doing with the spine and the overall system is going to greatly affect our experiences and perceptions. So it's all connected and all roundabout. So we simply learn to sit here, again bringing the pelvis back and allowing those natural curves in the spine, not trying to fight them, but simply allowing them. And when we get into this posture, you will find it can be very easy to stay because our center of gravity now, it's not pulling us in forward or backward or side, but we are centered gravitationally wise, energetically wise. Energy is flowing up and down, and the gravity is hitting us in a certain way to where it's not pulling us in any direction. Or perhaps it's pulling us, in all directions at once. And therefore, no direction is overwhelming another. And so we can find ourselves being able to simply sit here quite easily with just a little bit of practice and a little bit of knowledge. And that's all it takes to have a healthy, balanced posture.